right, I've given up on this crazy Ontario-like weather we're having in Vancouver. It's snowing again. I can't believe it, but it kind of fits because I'm reviewing Metro Exodus. This is the latest game from 4A Games. And I remember when Jason Rubin was running THQ, and he spoke with such passion about how talented and how committed to this incredible game series the 4A team was.
Pulled an all-nighter.
And I think that's best exemplified by this terrific title.
All right, let's get moving.
Metro Exodus is the third. Metro 2033 was the first one. Metro Last Light is the second one. I think you could have picked up a couple of these things along the way as a freebie on PlayStation Plus, and I think they're still on Xbox Game Pass, which is a pretty sweet deal. It's based on people living after a nuclear holocaust inside of metro tunnels. In Metro Exodus, though, we leave the subterranean environments and the spooky, creepy, crawly worlds that we had seen in the previous two Metro games, and we get outside.
Be careful out there.
Then we hop on a train and travel across big chunks of Russia, and we are, looking for the scattered remains of civilization. We run into cult leaders, we run into some really super crazy human beings, and we run into characters that would be right at home in a Russian-based Mad Max story. You play a voiceless character named RTM, and I really felt like giving a voice to RTM in this game would have helped sinking into the narrative a little bit. There's, of course, lots of mutated creatures and giant bats and wolf-type things and underwater giant bug-type creatures and massive mutated whale-type creatures.
What the fuck was that? A whale?
You're in rowboats for big chunks of the time. You're also in other types of vehicles as well, driving around. And then you get into all kinds of firefights, and sometimes it's epic, like you and your little army against a bigger, encroaching World War Z-type army. So consequently, I defaulted to using the shotgun, which gave me the spread blast, and I didn't really muck around too much with other types of rifles. You do get this pneumatic rifle, though, where you can just sort of charge it up, and it's got this air compressor thing, and it can shoot out. And you'll find little upgrade parts as you work your way through the game on other people's weapons as well that you can then tape onto your own weapon. So crafting is a big part of this experience, and you do feel like you become more of a badass as you go into it, and sometimes you're just sort of one-on-one against these mutant jump scare creatures that are perfectly placed to freak you the hell out. There is a great sense of place in this game. It really does take you into a dilapidated, destroyed, but still beautiful Russia, and you get Russian wilderness, and then you get Russian bunkers and Russian towns, churches that have been devastated, and there's floods that have taken over certain parts of the territory, or droughts that have taken over certain parts of the territory. We also see the game kind of traverse as we traverse through the time of it, through different seasons, and so we see the scenery that we pass by have a completely different reflective presence back at you. You can feel the heat when you're in the summer months, and you can absolutely feel the frostiness of the winter months. I wish this winter would end here in Vancouver. My mouth is frozen. There's a palpable quality to the aesthetics of the game, which is really commendable. But I have to quibble, and I have to kind of point out some of the things that I did notice. The combat in the game wasn't as slick as I wanted it to be, partially because you're dealing with crafted armaments and shotguns and things that are piecemeal together, and you're duct taping everything, kind of like in all of these post-apocalyptic games that we play. And so I can forgive it a little bit that way, but it just didn't feel as tactile and fun to get into these firefights as I wanted to.
I did my best.
Got a couple of issues with the audio bugs in here too. I don't know if they're bugs, it's just the way that it's all been mixed. Sometimes everybody's talking at the same time, and it's like, who should I be paying attention to? And you kind of navigate to the right little nook and look right at the character to hear exactly what they're telling you.
Now we just need to figure out how to cross this goddamn bridge.
And I even found there's just walking around and shuffling around inside of these corridors and some of the exterior environments. It almost felt like I had tap shoes on. I could hear like 3 or 4 steps with every...
Well, at least some things are clearer now.
I was reminded of Tommy's incessant nagging of footstep sounds. They're very prominent, very positioned in the audio mix, and it was just weird. I also wasn't a big fan of the UI. Every once in a while there was an interactive object, either lights that you could turn off or things that you could pick up, and it was just this super retro, old school video game, like bam, some kind of insignia would pop up, press the X button. It took you out of the immersion, that there was just something so utterly not refined that just sort of hammered up on top of the screen there. And of course, there's lots of detail and lots of destroyed beauty, so you're looking in every nook and cranny trying to see what you can interact with, and then you'd get this big poof, press the square button, and you can have that. I was playing it on the PlayStation 4. For the most part, though, I was just in love with this game. I loved getting lost in it. I tweeted out as I was playing this that I just love big, ambitious, single-player, story-driven experiences like this where you just get lost in the world that's been crafted for you. It's much more open-ended. It's much larger than the previous Metro games. There's way more areas for you to explore. It just keeps on giving you cool little tidbits and cool things. And I just love the commitment to creating this tactile sense that you're in this terrible environment. It's just so effectively made. And honestly, Jason Rubin's words echoed in my mind about how passionate this development team is and how much they want to over-deliver, and I really think they did.
We can't miss it.
Definitely go for Metro Exodus. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.